Hello everyone, myself Dr. Kirti Mathur. I am Assistant Professor and MPT in Musculoskeletal Disorders. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about accident, its various types, different methods of transport from the accident site, first aid, and prevention of infection of the wounds. So, starting and moving forward, so, first of all, the word accident. Whenever you listen this word, it creates a feeling of shock, negativity, and anxiety. Because we know that accident is something negative, something bad has happened. So, if we go by definition, it is an unintended, normally unwanted event that was not directly caused by humans, although these days, most of the accidents are caused by humans. And the term accident implies that nobody should be blamed, but the event may have been caused by unrecognized or unaddressed risk. Means accident is not planned, it is unintended, and it can happen because of some carelessness, some unrecognized risk factors. If we see different types of accidents, so it is divided into two main parts, physical and non-physical. As by name it implies that physical means which is creating some physical problems, wounds, severe injuries, and non-physical, the wounds are not visible to naked eyes, it is not visible to eye, but it causes lots of stress and various disorders. Physical means accident includes unintended motor vehicle collisions, falls, being injured by touching something sharp or hot, or bumping into something while walking. Means everything is physical, it creates some injury, bruises, or in severe cases it may cause fractures, it may occur due to burning over cold temperatures, so it can create any of the physical features. Non physical examples are unintentionally revealing a secret or otherwise saying something incorrectly, accidental deletion of data, or forgetting an appointment. Like whatever you have planned, everybody plans every day for themselves, and something which doesn't turns according to them, so it is like a disappointment. And if something very like you say unintended and very misfortunate occurs, so this also creates lots of um, problems to the patient, and that is under non-physical, although wounds are not visible, but it is main cause of lots of disorders in future. And if we see the different types of physical accidents, so they may be RTA. Main types of accidents are physical accidents are RTA. RTA stands for road traffic accidents, means which occurs because of traffic on the roads, and it may be it may be car accident, it may be motorcycle accident, and all these are unintended. Or it may occur at the workplace, it may occur due to medical negligence, or it may occur due to fall or slip from some area, from a slippery surface, or fall from a height. Now the very important thing is transport. If you see an accident and you see a victim there, so what happens most of the time that people gather around the victim, and nobody actually knows the exact method of transport which will be helpful for the patient, and it will not create further injuries to the patient. So transport of the seriously injured patient is associated with risk and requires particular expertise and attention. So there are some general principles of transport. So most important thing is seek for assistance. Like don't become he man कि मैं सब कुछ करूँगा, अगर आपको ज़रूरत लग रही है तो प्लीज़ असिस्टेंस लीजिए. नो मोर देन वन लीडर शुड बी देयर टू गाइड. जब भी भीड़ होती है कोई भी एक्सीडेंट साइट पे, तो हर कोई अपनी अपनी आइडियाज़ दे रहा होता है. तो डोंट बी अ लीडर इफ़ यू डोंट नो एनीथिंग, एंड इन अ ग्रुप only one leader should be there, and the one who is having some knowledge. Do not try to move the seriously injured patient alone if assistance is available. As I said earlier also, आप ये मत दिखाने की कोशिश करो कि मैं ही हीरो हूँ, आप उस मदद ले लीजिए और लोगों के लिए, क्योंकि वो पेशेंट के लिए बहुत प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो सकता है. बिफोर ट्रांसपोर्टिंग, कंसीडर द सीवियरिटी ऑफ इंजरी एंड फर्स्ट एड शुड बी गिवन. Take immediate action to transport the injured to nearby hospital, which is very very important because we are transporting for the betterment. So consider all these things. Then there are different types of transport methods. First we'll take those methods in which only one person is available. One aider means only one first aid giving person is available, and injury of the patient is not very severe. So in that, first method is cradle method. It is the easiest and the fastest method, simplest method. Most of the time it is recommended for the children or adults with minor injuries, and very important, aider should be strong enough to carry the victims. This will become more clear by the picture. Like first aider has taken the victim in his arms, cradling the patient, and this is the easiest method to transport a victim from the accident site to a safer zone. Next is the human crutch method. As it is clear from its name that crutch is not available, patient is able to take some weight on his own, but he needs some support, so your body is acting like a crutch for the victim. In this, first aider himself acts as a support to the casualty. He stands close to the victim and holds his waist. He then keeps the casualty hand on his neck and lifts him with the other hand and gives him support, and this is used only when the victim is conscious and cooperative with only minor wounds. This you can see in the picture here. First aider, he is giving support from his body, and the victim is in a conscious state. He can walk, he can take some weight on his limb, but he needs a support, so you are acting as a crutch. So this is known as the human crutch method. Next one is the fireman's lift. Fireman's lift is of two types. Fireman's means if you see in some place there is some fire in an area, so the firemen come and they lift they lift the persons from they lift them to a safer place, and they rescue all those people. So this is of two types, fireman's lift. In the first one, which is known as fireman's lift A, with the injured person standing, first aider holds one of his hands and with the other hand holds his legs over the knee and carry him on the backs. You can see this in the picture. See, fireman has lifted the person on his back, around his shoulder, holding one hand of the patient and another hand supporting above the knee. So again, first aider should be strong enough to carry the weight. Don't try if you are not that strong, if you are lifting that person and you are not able to carry his weight and you are falling and again creating a problem for the survivor as well as yourself. Then in the another type, it is fireman's lift B. What happens in this? This is same method but pick a back method. This another name for this is a pick a back method. Help the casualty to sit on a chair or on a high place. Means you are not able to lift the person from floor, or you are not able to bend forward. So what you will do, you will ask the patient to sit on a higher end, on a chair, on a high place, and then before him and tell him to fold his legs around your waist and hands around the shoulders, and slowly lift him and rise from the sitting position, maintaining the body mechanics. See, बचपन में हम लोग बहुत खेलते थे ऐसे पीठ पद्दी, कि आपने वो बोरा उठाया, अपने साथी को उठाया, पीठ पे टांगा. दिस इज़ अ टाइप ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्ट मैथड, फायरमैन्स बी मैथड. तो इसमें क्या है, ये तब हो रहा है कि जब एक तो आप पेशेंट जो है वो इतना एबल है कि वो उठ के थोड़ा सपोर्ट से चेयर पे भी बैठ पा रहे हैं और वो पूरा आपकी बैक पे सपोर्ट में आ गए हैं. तो दिस इज़ another method of transport, fireman's B method, or it is also known as pick a back method. Next is drag method. It is useful in situations when the casualty is unable to stand and when he's under danger and has to be moved quickly from the site of danger. Example, there may be a fire accident, there may be an electrical shock. Patient suffered from electrical shock or suffered from some accident due to fire. So patient is unable to move, patient is unable to stand, patient is unable to sit. So what you have to do, squat at the head end of the casualty, keep the victim's hands across his chest, grasp the armpit and cradle the casualty's head on your forearm. Pull the casualty from the site of danger without lifting. इसमें हमने पेशेंट को उठाया नहीं है, हमने सिर्फ ड्रैग किया है. आपने मेनली क्या सपोर्ट किया है, उसका नेक को, उसके हेड को सपोर्ट किया है. एंड यू विल ड्रैग द पेशेंट फ्रॉम द डेंजर जोन. सी दिस इज विजिबल फ्रॉम हेयर. जो एडर ही इज सपोर्टिंग हिज हेड ऑन हिज फोरआर्म and dragging the patient. This is one method, and in the next picture you can see there are some another methods. Like in the first picture A, aider is in on kneeling position, supporting over his shoulder, now lifting the patient and taking the head of the patient on the forearm and try to assist the patient to sit. This is in the case if patient is able to sit in this position, or if a patient is unable to sit, then the previous picture in which just head and neck was supported and patient was made to drag out from the danger zone. Then another method is transport method. This is when there is major casualty and two aiders are present, means two people are present to support the victim. So in that, first one is the two-handed seat. Two-handed seat means two hands will be used as a seat. So what you have to do, this is used when the casualty is unable to hold the first aider. The two first aiders stand face to face and hold him with one hand of each, one at the chest level. Hold the other hands together like a hook with fingers. Can keep a towel in the hand to give a broader base. Then slowly lift him from the middle portion of his hands. Both should walk in the same manner slowly. This will be more easy to understand by this picture. See, patient is unable to stand, patient is unable to put some weight on his own. So what they have done, in the first picture they are showing the seat pattern, how they have made the seat pattern, and in the another picture they have lifted the patient and both have to move slowly at the same pace. Next one is the four-handed seat. Both persons should stand behind the casualty facing each other. पीछे खड़े हो जाएंगे आप. Then catch each other's wrist, right wrist with the left wrist of other person and vice versa. And after forming the seat, ask the casualty to sit on it with both hands on the shoulder and neck of each first aider, and then same way both should now take slow steps. See, this is the difference of the pattern of this seat. See here, you can see this is first picture. This is showing four-handed seat. Both the hands are used, and then you have to lift the patient. Full support is given. So this is another method of support, and patient will be carried to a safer place. Support is given and then patient is carried to the another place. This is method of transport in severe injuries and when two aiders are present. Next one is the chair method. Very simple. Casualty is made to sit on a chair and fasten him on the chair with a long piece of cloth. One person should stand in front and another person behind the casualty facing each other. And now both the first aiders together carry him slowly, ensuring the casualty does not lean forward or fall down. Means you are using chair as a support. Weight is not on your body. You are just lifting the chair and patient is sitting on the chair. See, this way. Fine. This is easier method, but sometimes chair is not available, then there another methods can be used. Wheelchair method, like you are using a wheelchair, so patient is made to sit on a wheelchair and grasp the handles and slowly move the victim. This is the easiest method, but in the road traffic accidents, these wheelchairs and chairs are not easily available. So other methods which we previously discussed, those can be used. One more method is there, and that is 4 and AFT method. So what happens in this? One first aider squat at the head end of the casualty, place the casualty's arms across his abdomen. He then catches the victim by encircling his chest, while the other person squats between the legs of the casualty, facing the feet, and catches him by putting the hands under the knees, and then both the persons rise together and move slowly. See, this is shown here. In what modifications can be done? Sometimes both first aiders can face each other, or they can face away from each other, but more safer method will be this, which is shown in the picture, because if a person has to move, they should see where they are moving. So this is another method, and they can support the head and neck over the chest of the person who is standing in the foreside. So this is known as 4 and AFT method. Another one is the sheet and blanket method, in which victim is lying, can be used if it is strong enough for lifting him, like patient is unable to move, patient is unable to sit, and patient is not that much capable that he can use his body to take support on the first aider's body. So what is done? If anything, sheet or blanket is available, victim is kept in that sheet and pulled to the safer side. Safer, this is method of transport. It is not a long transport. You are just transporting the patient from accident side to a safer side. Then another one is log roll technique. It is very important in spinal cord injury patients. Like at the accident side, you don't know that it is spinal cord injury, but always take precautions and assume that it may cause injury, it may be a severe injury. So what you have to do, you have to preserve all alignments of the body. You need not to move a patient a lot so that it can disturb the alignment or it can disturb the patient. So this is another method which is known as log roll technique or log rolling. This is used for patient without flexing the spinal cord. You are not moving the spinal cord, and patient's legs are stretched and head is held to immobilize the neck. See in this picture, head and neck is stabilized, and you need more people to move. No, it cannot be done with 2 people only, and these people, they have stabilized the spine, they have stabilized the legs together. One person is stabilizing the spine, and then these people will roll the body of the patient like a log roll. Log roll means एक बड़े पेड़ का जब हम तना काटते हैं, जब आप उसको घुमाते हो तो वो जैसे घूमता है, उसी को हम लॉग रोल बोलते हैं. वैसे ही उसी तरीके से ह्यूमन बॉडी को भी आप मूव कर रहे हैं. And these are the easy methods. These are transport methods used with the help of stretchers and cords. So in this picture you can see different types of cords and stretchers. These are stretchers. In the previous one, see, these are different mobile and folding stretchers which can be used, which should be kept in the cars or public transport vehicles. And another one, these are different types of ambulance stretchers. These are highly advanced and modified stretchers with self-made adjustable supports and slings. Okay, so after the transport method, here comes the next thing, and that is first aid. Since school, you must be learning about first aid, and we used to make some first aid box in our schools. So first aid is the first assistance or treatment given to a casualty or a sick person for any injury or sudden illness before the arrival of an ambulance or an expert medical professional. So that's why everybody should have a basic knowledge of first aid, transport methods, and all these BLS techniques. Everybody should know, because you don't know, you never know. Sometimes we can give help to others, or we can give help to ourselves. So this is very important thing to know about different methods of transport, first aid, and all BLS techniques. What are the aims of first aid? So most importantly, this is to preserve the life, definitely, to prevent the worsening of one's medical condition, to promote recovery, and to help to ensure safe transportation to the nearest healthcare facility. Good recovery, because you have not aggravated the condition. If you have transported the patient rightly, if you had given right first aid at the time of the accident, so recovery will be fine. It will not worsen the medical condition of the victim. Now, how to deal with an emergency? There are some important steps, 4 steps. First one is, make the area safe, evaluate the injured person's condition, seek help, give first aid. So make the area safe means, if you notice an accident, so what you have to do, there are lots of things on the road, like it can be broken glass, it can be broken sheets, wires, or petrol, or any fluid leaking from the vehicle. So you have to make that area safe. You have to see what are the other things which can cause problem to the victim or to another persons who are passing by. So you have to clear those things. You have to ask for any help to stop the traffic around, so that it will not cause further problems to other persons and to the victim. Evaluate the injured person's condition. Some basic vital information, they should be checked at the accident site. Seek help from the nearby people, and call the ambulance. These numbers are available these days everywhere on the traffic signals. They are displaying the numbers that you can call on this number. So, and these days different rules are there. If you are helping a person at the accident side, you will not be disturbed by the police again and again. Earlier what happens, because the person who used to take the victim to the hospital, they were caught by the police, and lots of questioning were done by that person. So people used to avoid those things, but these days rules have changed. So don't worry about that. If you see an accident like this, so try to give your best, try to save the life. Then actually there are different tips for different types of accidents, like for a burn patient, for a cardiac arrest patient, for a drowning patient. But here I am just discussing, not going in detail. So I am just discussing about the first aid tips for the road traffic accident. So what you have to do, make sure that you have alerted the oncoming traffic that an accident has taken place. This is so that you ensure your own safety first before helping the victim, and this prevents further casualties also. The next step would be to turn off the vehicle ignition, as there might be spilled fuel or other fire hazards. If this is not the case, then make sure to turn on the hazards lights. Shift the victim to a safer area by road, away from oncoming traffic, glass pieces, leaking fluids from the vehicle, or any other harmful material close by. Contact or have a bystander call the nearest hospital or police station. If the victim is unconscious or is experiencing difficulty in breathing, then your immediate action should be to send the victim to the nearest hospital. Make sure victim's head, neck, and back are treated with great care and are not jerked around. This is very, very important. Head, neck, and back, spine, spinal cord. You are protecting the spinal cord. Or you can place a wooden block on either side of the neck. If this is not possible, make sure that nobody moves the victim by shaking them to stay away. This happens usually, people are not aware about these things. They keep on moving the patient, they keeps on jerking the patient, which may further aggravate the problem of the victim. Do not try to remove the helmet of a biker victim until he or she has reached the hospital, unless the victim is unconscious and not breathing. And in these circumstances, mouth to mouth resuscitation techniques will benefit the victim, which you will study further. Then very important thing, if there is an accident, patient has got some wounds and you are transporting the patient, you are giving first aid, so very important that you have to prevent infection of the wound, and you have to prevent the spread of infection to yourself. So when dealing with ill or injured person, it is important to keep the risk of infection between yourself and the sick or injured person to a minimum. If possible, wash your hands with soap. Like if it may not be possible that your that water is available, and if that is not possible, these days people used to keep sanitizers with them, or you may be having some clean cloth, or you can be having some clean plastic bags, so alternatively you can use them. And or you can use ash to wash your hands. Alcohol based hand sanitizers can be used. Avoid direct contact with blood or body fluid. You can use gloves, that is the best thing, or you can also use a clean plastic bag to cover the hands if that is not available. Use a sticking plaster, bandage or clean cloth to protect any cuts, grazes or wounds you may have yourself or on the patient's body, because infections may spread through break in your skin. And wear shoes to protect your feet from infection. Use lots of clean water to rinse out any blood on yourself also. This is for prevention of the wounds of the patient, and as well as it should not spread to you, the person who is aiding the patient. What further you can do: wash the wound right away with the soap and water. Consider applying a small amount of antibiotic. Cover wounds with a bandage or gauze dressing. Keep the wound clean and dry for first 24 hours. Wash your hands before and after your care for the wound. So these are some basic things which should be considered while facing any accident site. Like you should know transport methods, you should have an idea about the first aid, you should know that you have to contact the nearby police station, ambulance, hospital. So and don't disturb patient's neck, head or spine. This is very important thing. And in further classes you will be studying about BLS techniques. I think everybody should understand, everybody should learn about these things, and hope this lecture will be helpful for you. Thank you so much. Keep learning, keep studying.